with me and have a conversation to say this is not going to work. It was him trying to do everything he could to push me away.
Order in the court. The judge's gavel cracked through the air like thunder, but even that sharp strike couldn't drown out the storm brewing inside the courtroom. The silence that followed wasn't peace. It was pressure, thick enough to choke on. This wasn't just another court hearing. This was the reckoning. The final, brutal chapter in a years-long saga of reality TV fame, betrayal, and buried truths. The world had watched the Brown family unravel piece by piece, but nothing, absolutely nothing, could have prepared them for this day. At the center of it all, Meri Brown. Once Kody Brown's first wife, now his most formidable opponent. When she walked into that courtroom, it wasn't as a heartbroken ex or a reality star trying to reclaim screen time. She entered as a woman ready to reclaim her power, every ounce of it. Her energy was different. Gone was the soft-spoken Meri fans once pitted. In her place stood a woman of steel, navy suit crisp, hair pulled tight, a thick folder of files clenched in her hand like a weapon. The quiet, overlooked Meri had vanished. What stood in her place was resolve, cold, calculated, and calm. But behind those steady eyes, a storm raged. Across the room sat Kody Brown, his once commanding presence dimmed. Robyn, his ever-loyal partner, clung to his hand so tightly her knuckles blanched white. Her eyes darted nervously across the room, scanning the crowd, friends, critics, even former family allies, each waiting for the truth to detonate. This wasn't just drama. This was Judgment Day. Because for months, while cameras filmed Christine and Janelle's exits, Meri had been quietly building her case. Behind the scenes, with lawyers and ledgers, she prepared for a showdown no one saw coming. Her claim? Financial abuse. Allegations that Kody and Robyn had siphoned joint family funds, turning shared assets into their personal empire while the other wives were left behind. Business revenues, TV earnings, property deeds, everything pointed one way. And when Meri's lawyer approached the bench with that thick folder, the room shifted. The air turned electric. Inside were emails, bank transfers, property titles, and text messages, every one of them a nail in the coffin of Kody's control. Transfers of large sums into Robyn's accounts. Messages where Kody dismissed Meri's financial concerns. Property papers tilted entirely in Robyn's favor despite years of equal contribution from all wives. Kody's confidence cracked. His hands fidgeted. His once steady smirk faded. Robyn's whisper turned into panic, her eyes widening with every document revealed. Then, the judge's voice cut through the air. Mr. Brown, why were these transactions made without signatures or approval from all parties involved? Kody's mouth opened. Nothing came out. I was making decisions for the family, he stammered. The judge leaned forward. For which part of the family? That question landed like a hammer. When it was Meri's turn to speak, she didn't shout. She didn't cry. Her power came from calm clarity. I gave decades of my life to this family. I helped build it, the businesses, the homes, the legacy. But somewhere along the way, I stopped being part of the we. I wasn't cut out. I was erased. Her voice trembled, but her words struck like steel. The courtroom went silent. Even Kody, the man who had once dominated every conversation, had nothing left to say. Outside, the media chaos erupted. Cameras, reporters, fans, half cheering for justice, half gasping in disbelief. This was no longer a private feud. It was a public unraveling of a once idolized family. Producers weren't allowed inside, but whispers already swirled of future specials and exclusive tell-alls. Meri had done her homework. She had evidence. She had truth. And more than anything, she had momentum. Kody and Robyn sat side by side, their partnership now a fragile shield against reality. The judge adjourned, his face unreadable, but his eyes said it all. This wasn't just another dispute over money. This was the story of a woman who had been silenced for years, finally being heard. And as Meri's lawyer placed that thick binder on the table, the sound it made was louder than any gavel strike that day. The sound of justice finally landing. Gasps filled the courtroom. The illusion shattered, and the reckoning of the Brown family had only just begun. Her attorney, calm and surgical, presented one example that silenced the room. A $400,000 payment from the sister wives' network contract, transferred without notice, used to purchase Robyn a luxury house. Did Mrs. Brown receive notification of this transfer? The judge asked, tone sharp as steel. No, Your Honor, the attorney replied. She discovered it through public property records. The words hit like a gunshot. Kody's face flushed deep red. Robyn's eyes darted downward. The evidence unfolds: emails, texts, voicemails, each piece another nail in the coffin of Kody's credibility. Screenshots displayed for the court showed Meri politely asking for updates on family finances. Each time, she was ignored or deflected. One message drew audible gasps. Meri, can I use part of our shared account to reinvest in my small business? Kody, asked Robyn. Two words that revealed everything: who truly held control, who was excluded, and how far the hierarchy had tilted. The courtroom murmured. Some leaned forward. Others exchanged looks of disbelief. The man once seen as the confident patriarch was shrinking before their eyes, his authority dissolving under fluorescent lights. Then came the voicemails, Meri's voice trembling but composed, asking why her name had been removed from a joint property deed. No response. Just silence. Her lawyer turned to the bench. This isn't emotional neglect, Your Honor. It's strategic exclusion. It's financial isolation hidden behind the language of spiritual leadership. The judge nodded slowly, eyes flicking toward Kody. The meaning was clear. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was calculated. The illusion collapses as the evidence mounted, tension built like static. Robyn tried to stay still, but her composure cracked. Her shoulders began to shake. Tears streamed down her cheeks, mascara bleeding into black streaks. She whispered something to Kody, frantic and desperate. Witnesses swore they heard it. You told me everything was taken care of. And just like that, the energy in the room shifted again. For years, fans had seen Robyn as the quiet romantic, the loyal partner caught in the crossfire. But now, in that courtroom, her tears revealed something else: guilt. Not innocence, not ignorance, but the realization that she had been part of something far darker than she'd ever understood. She covered her face, tried to leave, but the bailiff stopped her until testimony concluded. The cameras outside caught none of it, but everyone inside the courtroom saw it. The unraveling of the perfect couple, live and unfiltered. Meri sat still. Not triumphant, not gloating, just still. She didn't need to say anything. The evidence had already spoken. Hook 2, midpoint. The moment that changed everything. Then came the moment no one could forget. Kody Brown taking the stand. The same man who once filled television screens with his booming voice and endless confidence now looked hollow. His tie hung crooked. His eyes darted nervously. The man who built a family on control now stood without it. I never meant to hurt anyone, he began. I always try to guide my family with love. The words echoed, empty. It sounded like something rehearsed for the cameras, but there were no cameras here, no producers, no edits. Just truth. The judge didn't blink. Then how do you explain excluding her name from joint property? Kody's lips trembled. That was a legal formality. It wasn't personal. Meri's attorney slid forward another exhibit, a time-stamped email chain. It showed Kody personally approving the removal of Meri's name to simplify things. The room inhaled collectively. Even Robyn froze. The judge's gavel tapped once, not to restore order, but to punctuate what everyone knew. The lie had been exposed. The power shift outside the courthouse. The world buzzed. News outlets flashed headlines. Social media lit up with disbelief and vindication. Meri Brown exposes financial deception. The truth behind the sister wives' fortune. Inside, however, silence reigned. Every face in the gallery carried the same look: realization. The family America once saw as spiritually united was fractured beyond repair. The cameras had shown only devotion, the courtroom revealed damage. Meri, in her navy suit, sat poised. She didn't smile, didn't gloat, didn't break. She simply watched the truth unfold exactly as she'd prepared it. The judge turned back to Kody. Would you consider your family model equal in finances, treatment, and decision-making? For a second, Kody seemed ready to say yes. His mouth opened, then closed. His shoulders fell. Not always, he finally whispered. The room froze. That single phrase carried more weight than hours of testimony. Not always. The confession that Meri had spent years waiting to hear. The aftershock. Kody's defense crumbled. His explanations turned to stammers. Every attempt to shift blame toward confusion or miscommunication only exposed more contradictions. His posture shrank further each minute. The man who once towered with authority now looked like a figure fading into the background of his own story. Meri's lawyer moved in for the final strike. Mr. Brown, do you acknowledge that, while married to 4 women spiritually, you treated one as a legal partner and the rest as expendable? Kody didn't answer immediately. His gaze wandered to Robyn, whose face was streaked with tears. Then toward Meri, unflinching. Yes, he said softly. I suppose that's true. The courtroom broke into quiet murmurs. Even the judge's expression softened, not in sympathy, but in recognition. The truth had finally surfaced. The turning point. The judge called for a recess. The air felt electric, every spectator whispering fragments of what they'd just witnessed. In the quiet, Meri gathered her documents, tucking them neatly into her folder. Her hands were steady. She had done what she came to do. When the judge returned, his tone had changed, firm, focused, deliberate. He thanked both parties, then requested additional review of the financial documents. But before adjourning, he looked directly at Meri, and he nodded just once. That nod said everything. The verdict would come later. But everyone in that room knew the balance had shifted. The woman once dismissed as irrelevant was now the center of truth. Outside, the courthouse reporters waited like vultures. Cameras flashed. Microphones stretched toward the courthouse doors as Meri emerged. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. Her silence was louder than any statement. The poise in her walk said it all. The years of being talked over were done. Inside sources later revealed what she said privately to her legal team that day. I told the truth. The rest is out of my hands. That was it. No revenge, no rage, just resolution. Meanwhile, back inside, Robyn broke again. The pressure, the exposure, the reality that everything she believed had been built on deception, it was too much. Witnesses said she whispered again to Kody, barely audible. You said this was taken care of. But nothing was taken care of. Not anymore. By the end of the session, Kody Brown looked like a man whose kingdom had fallen in a single afternoon. His confident smile gone. His composure shattered. He sat beside Robyn, who dabbed at her eyes, both clinging to a version of control that no longer existed. The judge's expression said more than his words. He had seen enough. This wasn't just a case about money. It was about erasure, control, and reclamation. It was about one woman being silenced for years finally stepping into the light, not as a victim, but as the truth-bearer. As court adjourned, Meri's final glance at Kody wasn't one of vengeance. It was closure. The cameras caught her walking down the courthouse steps, wind catching her hair. The woman once edited into the margins of her own story had finally written her ending. And as headlines exploded across every network, one thing was certain. The reckoning had arrived. Meri Brown, once forgotten, was now unstoppable. And for the first time in years, the world wasn't watching a reality show. They were witnessing reality itself. Order in the court. The gavel came down like thunder. The sound cracked through the air, silencing the whispers, freezing the tension that had been building for months, years, even. But this wasn't just another court hearing. This was the day the lies, the favoritism, the years of control and manipulation came to an end. This wasn't reality TV anymore. This was reality, raw, unfiltered, and about to shatter the illusion of the perfect Brown family forever. Cameras weren't allowed inside, but they didn't need to be. Every person in that courtroom felt the electricity. Every glance, every movement, every breath told a story of betrayal, of power lost, and justice long overdue. At the center of it all stood Meri Brown, no longer the quiet, soft-spoken wife the world had once known. She wasn't here for sympathy. She wasn't here for revenge. She was here for truth. Dressed in navy blue, calm and deliberate, she carried herself like someone who'd already seen the worst life could offer and survived it. Across from her, Kody Brown sat stiffly beside Robyn, the once favored wife. His confidence had curdled into discomfort, his smile replaced by a nervous tap of his foot under the table. The man who had built his life on control was losing it, live, in front of the world he thought he owned. The courtroom lights seemed harsher that day, revealing every flicker of unease, every nervous glance. Robyn's hands were clenched around Kody's so tightly that her knuckles turned white. When she looked around the room, her eyes were restless, scanning every face as though searching for an ally who no longer existed. This was it, the final act of a decade-long drama that had blurred the lines between faith, family, and fame. The case unfolds. Truth on paper. Meri's lawyer rose from the bench, crisp and composed, holding a thick folder of documents, the folder that had taken months to assemble. Inside it were the receipts, the records, the proof of what had really been happening behind the cameras. Emails, texts, and transaction records painted a story darker than any TLC episode had ever shown. Transfers from joint accounts into Robyn's name. Business revenue rerouted without consent. Property titles mysteriously rewritten. For years, Meri had been told she was imagining things, that her doubts were unspiritual, her concerns divisive. But now, every lie had a timestamp. Every betrayal had a signature. As each paper slid across the judge's bench, you could see Kody's composure crack. His jaw clenched tighter. His once confident posture shrank. And Robyn, usually so composed, began whispering frantically, her face pale, her faith in her husband's version of the truth slipping through her fingers. The judge flipped through the evidence slowly, his brow furrowed. He stopped, glanced at Kody, and asked the question that cut through the entire illusion. Mr. Brown, why were these financial transfers made without consent or acknowledgement from all parties? Kody's mouth opened. No sound came. Then, I was doing what I thought was best for the family, he stammered. The judge's eyes narrowed. For which part of the family, Mr. Brown? Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Meri's voice, the quiet that roared when it was Meri's turn to speak. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Her calm cut deeper than any anger could. I gave decades of my life to this family, she said softly. I believed in it. I worked for it. I sacrificed for it, and I stayed silent because I thought we were building something together. But at some point, I realized I wasn't part of the we anymore. I was erased. Her words hung heavy in the air. The same courtroom that moments ago buzzed with whispers now sat in reverent silence. For the first time, Kody looked at her, not as a wife, not as a woman he could control, but as a force he could no longer silence.